Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekly Emmy Talk, episode 6, I believe. The Emmy nominations came out about a week ago at this point, and we are still grasping everything that happened. And we are going to be breaking down the drama category today. And I'm joined by Anthony to do such things.
Yes, it's a fairly competitive year, I think, because we don't really have a we don't have a Crown, we don't have a Game of Thrones that's gonna
Mm,
really take all of the awards, or at least take
We
that has
kind of
so
do,
many.
I think.
Yeah, but it's an interesting year, especially because we have so many different narratives kind of
Yeah,
going up and conflicting with each other. So yeah, it's sure to be an interesting discussion.
definitely. So, starting off with the big one, the drama series. I mean, do you have Succession winning here? It's Succession.
Uh, I see. This is what I think is interesting. I think this is where we cement whether Succession is such a dynamite player because they've only won this award once before. Their first season lost to Game of Thrones season 8. So
Hmm.
I feel like it's interesting with season 3 whether people are continuing to support this show or season 2 was a make good for season 1 and they feel that the show has earned its awards and it's earned its time in the sun and they're going to go somewhere else because I do think that we have a lot of first season shows here. We have
Yeah.
shows like Squid Game and Severance. We have some final season shows, so I think it would be interesting if a mid-season won with Succession, but I do think it's possible. I probably think because it's just it has a level of prestige and gravitas that I think the other nominees don't hold with them, or at least to the same level. I do think
Hmm.
it has a very good chance at winning, but I'm not quite sure I can call it yet for Succession. It's definitely one of potential, one of like a. I feel like honestly, it's probably this or Squid Game, just because Squid Game is such a unique competitor, and I think if they run a
Hmm.
good campaign these next couple of months, they could upend Succession's hold on this. But I would never doubt Succession because I also think that it's so well written, so well acted, so well directed, and it is just on another class. And I think if more and more people are coming onto the Succession train, the train's not going to stop anytime soon.
No. I do think Succession is definitely, at least for me, the current front runner. Based on all the nominations it got and the categories I think it will win. It was the easy front runner nominations. I think it got 25. The only other shows that got close were White Lotus and Ted Lasso with 20 nominations.
Which I think that says something. I think that those might be your
Those
three.
might be your winners. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
which
think
would
that's
be
definitely possible.
yeah, that would be very interesting if the
Very
top
opposite of the
nominees.
Oscars.
Yes, yes. Well, because I think that with the based on the amount of based on the fact that televisions are of course made up of ensembles for the most part.
Hmm.
When you see all those nominations, it's because they're getting all of those actors in. And to get all
Yeah.
of the actors in, to get people like J. Smith Cameron into Best Supporting Actress, to get people just there's no stopping that sort of rush because it's different than the Oscars because the Oscars I think are more democratic in the way they do their nominations, where the Emmys
Hmm.
just seem to probably because there's more to watch, which always seems to lessen the pool of potential
Yeah. More
nominees.
volume wise, too, more
Yeah.
hours.
So I think that's why. So I think it is interesting to see if those three will go on. I honestly, I probably have the most, I feel like the most race there is probably in limited between Dope Sick and White Lotus. Because I mean, Succession, Ted Lasso, I don't know, that feels when you hear those as the winners, that seems
Feels
kind of
right.
what we expect. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and I would agree with you about the runners up right now. I say it's the battle of the S's because I think Squid Game and Severance are the two other big runners up. Because Squid Game has been a while since it released, but it did do very well at the SAG Awards, and I think it's the first foreign TV show nominated here. So I think there's going to be a lot of support behind it. But I don't think I think it overperformed a little bit too, just like Severance did. They both got one or two more supporting nominations than expected. And for a first season, both of them did very, very well. So I think those are your two runners up. And besides that, I don't really see anything else winning. I don't think Ozark's final season is strong enough to win. And Stranger Things, I think, was a huge hit, but I don't know how, it didn't get any acting nominations, so I don't know how much love there is within the acting branch for it, which would be the biggest branch here. So,
Yeah, I kind of it's interesting. I kind of look at genre content in television the same way that I think the Oscars used to look at genre content. Like Game of Thrones was your Star Wars, it was your Raiders of the Lost
mhm.
Ark. When those type of, and that's why you would see genre movies continually get nominations for Best Picture year after year because it was fresh, it was new. Once it became a like subsection of the type of entertainment that was being made, you didn't see those type of movies getting made anymore because they had a different focus. And I think the shows that are genre content have different focus. Stranger Things, I think, because it already had one foot in the door before Game of Thrones ended, is why I think it
Yeah,
continues. And also because it's a really great show and the production level is just beyond that of so many other television series. But I think it will always be like at the bottom of the list in terms of winning. We have to see the final season because of how popular it is. And I think that, you know, for people voting for best drama series, you know, I do think that word comes into play. It's what we've talked about with Barry and comedy. It's like I do
mhm.
think that where I don't think it matters in terms of supporting actress or like lead actress. Like I don't think that moniker changes a win, but I
No,
do think being the genre you belong to, like Succession is a drama, and I think that also probably helps it. Severance, I think that's what helps it too, because there is the idea that those type of dramas have more substance to them than something like Stranger Things or
yeah,
Squid Game, which I disagree with, of course, but I do think that that's probably a certain perspective that Emmy voters have, and that they see more just integrity in something like Succession, creative ambition in something like Succession.
yeah. I would definitely agree with that. So right now we're both going with Succession, but there are chances for upsets from the other S's. Um, Now onto drama actress, where I have changed my number one with ever since nomination morning, because Euphoria quite overperformed for season two in a lot of categories. And this woman, Zendaya, she got 4 nominations Emmy morning. So I think the support is really there, and I think her performance is also really there. So I think she's going to be our winner. How about you?
Yeah, I think as many people are, I'm torn between Laura Linney and Zendaya. I think Zendaya has a hell of an episode that they're probably submitting for her with that fifth
Hmm.
episode. As I mean, I would say it's a compliment for her. I don't take anything out on her because I was very uncomfortable in a way that I don't think was earned with that episode. But I think it maybe speaks to how good she is that
Yeah.
I felt so uncomfortable with what Sam Levinson was asking of her because she's too good for that script, in my
Hmm.
opinion. Because she just brings her all, and it's a heartbreaking, it's a powerhouse of a performance. And
Yeah.
I do think the overperformance of Euphoria in a lot of these categories does cite that there's a lot of respect for this show and for her. And I get the sense that people are comfortable making Laura Linney the bridesmaid for this show. And I don't think there was anything specifically that matched the heights of season three for her that
Hmm.
really makes people, oh my God, because I think that it's the Tom Hanks syndrome. It's like when you're always good, it's hard for people to pay attention to you. Zendaya's on the rise, and I think she's still surprising people with her ability. So
Yeah.
I think I am in agreement that Zendaya will take this again, but I still don't think you should count out Laura Linney because I do think they might want to throw Ozark something, and they could do something akin to what they did with the Americans final season, where Matthew Rhys just surprise wins his
Hmm.
category, even though like Kerry Russell doesn't win. So it's not like they're going to give it everything, but they're going to give this like one category to somebody who's done good work on this show for its entire run. I could see that happening with Laura Linney, but as of right now, I think the 4 nominations, the rising star, she was in Spider-Man No Way Home. Her star is growing bigger. So I do think that Zendaya probably is your front runner at this moment in time.
Yeah, and I do think we see with the Emmys, they often like to reward and nominate and give the wins to a lot of the same actors. Like we saw, the only actor to win from Game of Thrones was ever Peter Dinklage.
It's
And yeah,
ridiculous still to
yeah,
this day.
still ridiculous. I mean, deserving, but many other people
Oh,
deserved.
no, he was completely deserving, but like
Yeah,
Lena Headey, Amelia Clark.
I know. Everyone on that show was so good. But yeah, they like to reward the same people, and at least for this show, we know where they like to reward certain actors, and I think we will continue to see that. And I don't think, sadly, Laura Linney is. going to be one of those people.
And I think
Also,
I've talked about it before. She has, I think, Scarlett Johansson syndrome. So many syndromes named after actors, I'm realizing. But
yeah,
like the issue with her with Marriage Story, which I thought Renee Zellweger was fantastic, but I think Scarlett Johansson, not only based on the year she had with Endgame and Jojo Rabbit, I think she could have pulled off a win there for Marriage
she should
Story.
have.
But and that performance alone was worthy. But I think what ended up happening is that so many people, and I think many men in the Academy didn't like the character, so it made them not want to vote for the performance. That just got in the way. I think that's why, on the flip side, Rami Malek wins because so many people love Freddie Mercury, Judy Garland. I think that's why Renee Zellweger wins. They saw it as Judy's Oscar, and I think that's the problem with Laura Linney is she's playing an ugly soul of a character, but
Yeah,
one that you're not necessarily rooting for. Like I feel like even with, she didn't end up winning, but even with somebody like Emilia Clarke in Game of Thrones, you're just so captivated by how madly powerful they are that it's a captivating performance. But hers, you're kind of you want to keep your distance from Wendy Bird, and I feel like
yes,
that distance will mean that people don't vote for her.
yeah, yeah. That is true. Very true. Also worth noting here. In Gold Derby, Laura Linney is actually third in the odds, and Melanie Linsky is number two for a win. So I do think some people think that is possible. I don't know how strong. I mean, Yellow Jackets got in everywhere I thought it was going to get in. I don't think it underperformed or overperformed. Um, so it's certainly possible, but I don't think that is strong enough to me, to be honest, to go over Zendaya.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them just because Yellow Jackets did get into Best Drama Series. It beat out
Hmm.
the other yellow titled
Which
Yellowstone.
flopped, yes.
Yes. So I do think there's an awareness of the show. You did say it hit a lot of the categories we were expecting. And this is an actor who has been working, done great work in the
Hmm.
background for some time now. And I think they took the reins here and they obviously in the Emmy's eyes did a great job because she captained a show to Best Drama Series.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised just because I think we talked about like if they feel like Laura Linney has gotten her due and Zendaya's already won this category for the same role, I could see them going to Melanie Linsky. I think that she could enjoy an Olivia Colman scenario where people feel like the other two are taken care of, so they vote their favorite if they
Yeah.
see it. I think what is it? Showtime would have to run a
Hmm.
campaign and get more people's eyes on it. But I do think that's why the window is so much bigger than the Academy because they give people more time to discover these shows. I, for one,
Yeah.
have discovered Abbott Elementary in the
Hmm.
week
Very
since we
good.
did our last episode, and I love the show now, and I've been recommending it to people. So I do think if enough people get their eyes on Yellow Jackets, I don't think Melanie Linsky is that much of a surprise.
No, no, certainly possible. I think the other three, not so much. Still surprised both the Killing Eve ladies got in, but good for them. But I don't think they're either going to win. And Reese Witherspoon, I don't think that show is strong enough either. So
No.
now on to probably the trickiest acting category for me, drama actor. So you may start with this tricky category. Who do
Oh,
you have
tricky
winning?
off to me. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm torn on this because the Succession actors I feel should cancel each other out, but they haven't in the past. Jeremy Strong has won this category before up against Brian Cox,
Hmm.
and I think the Brian Cox thing is the same thing with the Laura Linney. His character is just so unlikable that you don't really want to root for him, even though he's deserving. He did win the Golden Globe for season one, though, so he does have
Hmm.
some awards under his belt for this performance. But I'm gonna go with the Squid Game actor, whose name is escaping me right now.
Lee Jung Jae.
Yes, thank you. Because I think that they're going to want to give Squid Game something. And if they don't give it Best Drama Series, this is a nice way to honor it. He won the SAG Award up against Jeremy Strong and Brian Cox. So there is precedent that the awards bodies like this do want to support Squid Game in this way. And I do think that it's a different type of performance. If they feel that we've seen Cox and Strong do what they always do so sufficiently, I could see them wanting to award the distinct flavor of what Lee Jung Jae did here. So
Hmm.
I think I'm going to lean him with noting that Strong and, I would say Strong is ahead of Cox and I would say Strong, never doubt Strong because I do think that there's a lot of actors who appreciate how seriously he takes his craft. And when you
Yeah.
watch the episodes and you watch his arc, like it's just there are a few actors who are able to craft such complex characters like he is with Kendall. I would say, I mean, he's the main character, I would say, of Succession.
Hmm.
So, the show in many ways falls on him to deliver. a lot of it, and he does it with flying colors. So, never count out strong, but I do think Lee Jung Jae, this is going to be a nice win for the Squid Game team.
Hmm. I'm leaning a little differently. Right now, I do have Brian Cox at number one because
Okay.
I think, at least me personally, I think they both did really good performances this past season. I think Brian Cox's was just a little bit stronger. I think he got a little bit more to do. Um, and Jeremy Strong has won here for this show. Brian Cox has not. And I think if we end up ending this show without him having won for this role, I think that will be a bit of a mistake because I think this is probably his most iconic role, one of his best performances. I think people would want to reward him for that. But my number two is Lee Jung Jae, just because I think if those two do end up splitting votes, which could be possible, because like I said, it's not like one performance is like equal, like much further and stronger than the other. They're both incredible in the show. So if they do split votes, I do think it's going to be Lee Jung Jae, who was really good in Squid Game. But right now, I'm going to lean Brian Cox.
And I'm just wondering, is your philosophy just because you think he's done great work the whole show and he's deserving of a win, or do you think this season in particular he leveled up? Because I do wonder if it's the latter that you think, and that he really delivered in the third season more so than he had in previous seasons where he did not win. I do wonder if a split the vote thing can happen, because you're always
Mhm.
going to have people who support Strong, but if Cox leveled up in your eyes, maybe then they really do split the vote.
Yeah. I think his work was at least as good as the past seasons. It might have been better. Honestly, I feel like all the actors level up each season.
Yeah.
To be honest, I feel like they get better and better as it goes on. And same goes with Jeremy Strong. I think the third season is probably his strongest too. He gets a lot to work with. Both of them, especially in the last 2 or 3 episodes, they get a lot to do. So yeah, I do think his work is probably a little bit better than it was in past seasons, but I think he's always been good on it, which helps his case too. In terms of the other people, I think Jason Bateman is definitely number 6. I would love to see Adam Scott win for Severance, but I think that's the nomination is the win, and hopefully he can win in future seasons. I think his first Emmy nomination, so congratulations to him. And then Bob Odenkirk. This is like the first half of the final season, I'm pretty sure. So I think if you were to be rewarded, hopefully it would be for the last final season, which is I think currently airing. But which I don't know, maybe the fact that it's currently airing could help him this season, but I don't think that enough people honestly watch the show for him to win.
Yeah, I think Better Call Saul, like the Breaking Bad legacy, is just so strong that it carries this show season after season. I'm not saying that the show is not deserving of these nominations, but I do wonder, had this show not been connected to Breaking Bad, whether it would continue
Yeah.
to get the like success and awards that it does, because it doesn't really ever win these awards. So I feel like it's always like for posterity. They just throw it on because everybody loves this show and they love the universe that Vince Gilligan created.
Yeah.
So I don't see a real scenario, because didn't he miss last year? I feel like he didn't
He
even get
did.
nominated.
He did
So
miss
like
last
I
year.
don't think you come back, like when you're mid show and you come back from not getting nominated to winning the next year,
Yeah.
and it's not even you're up for your final season. Like that would
Yeah.
be quite a feat that I don't think
Yeah.
they're capable of.
This year's not going to be his year, and I root for him for next year. I haven't seen the show, but I just hope because this is an iconic role for him and everyone says he's good. I hope he does get his dues, but it airing right now in the summer does not help his chances. But onto supporting actress, where you mentioned they want to reward Ozark somewhere. I think this is where they are going to reward it. Julia Garner for Ozark is who I think will win. I mean, from what I've heard, she does just as good work this season as she does in past seasons. And they clearly love her on this show. They clearly love her as an actress in general, because she was also nominated for Inventing Anna.
I think that says a
Yeah,
lot. I think
it
that
does.
is what makes me confident in picking Julia Garner. I'm interested to see what episode they submit. I think they should submit, as I've said,
Hmm.
the first episode of the second part, the 8th episode of season 4, because I think that it's a lot of by herself, and it's a really like powerful episode. And yeah, I think that it's really, but the only other person I could see winning is Sarah Snook. But Sarah Snook, just based on that last frame of Succession season 3, I think is going to have a dynamite season 4.
Mhm.
And I think they feel that they obviously love Julia Garner. They've awarded her the past 2 seasons,
Yeah.
even when they weren't hot on the show. She's kind of always been the thing that has stood apart. And so I feel that they will honor her. They're going to want to honor Ozark in some way. And I think this will be it. But I still don't think you should count out Sarah Snook, because let's say we're in a different scenario where Squid Game cleans up with actor and best drama series, and they do want to throw Succession something, they could give it to Sarah Snook here.
I think they do that in supporting actor, the next category.
That's potential.
But
That's possible too. I don't know.
yeah,
I think Sarah Snook it's such a brilliant character, and
it is.
I think she probably is my favorite character as much as
Yeah,
I
she's mine
think
too.
so. Just as far as like what she brings to that show, I'm always interested in watching. But I think an Emmy is in her future, but I'm not sure it's this one. I do think that they're
Yeah.
going to give it to Ruth Langmore one last time.
One final time. And yeah, I don't know how much the terrible people factor factors into Succession, because I think most of them are bad people. But I think if you look at the better of the bad people, Sarah Snook's character Shiv would be on the better of the bad people side.
See, it's
Rather
funny.
than
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I think what Succession has going for it is the idea that it's a competition show. So even though they're terrible people, you
yeah.
innately are rooting for one of them to win the family business. So even
Hmm.
though they're awful and you would not ever want them leading a company, based on how the show was originally conceived, it predicates on the audience rooting for somebody. So I think that's why they get away with it, because the structure of it has the audience connected to the characters. And I also think that what's so brilliant about the show is, I mean, listen, I love Ozark, but I do think that we get to learn more about the subtle humane nuances of these characters in ways
Hmm.
that I think does make them a little bit more likable than the Ozark. And I do think that Ozark's main thesis is that none of these characters are likable, so it's not a slam on that show. But I do think that the Jesse Armstrong and his writing team on Succession do take more time to like go visit the family home and spend time
Yeah.
with the parents and see them as parents of their own kids. And
Yeah.
we spend more time with them being genuinely, it's also, it's
Human.
about a family and they're in love, and and it's like a lot of, most of the times, they say they do things for their family and stuff. I don't know. I think tonally it's different than Ozark. Ozark always felt like the family was coming undone, where this one kind of feels that, like, as we've seen, like the siblings are coming together by the end of season 3. And even though it's
Yeah.
about a family rift, there are more alliances than there are on Ozark. So I think weird way, I think that kind of positive engagement, it kind of reminds me of any time that Michael Bluth and Lindsay would plan and team up in an episode of Arrested Development. Like, Succession has that vibe that I don't think Ozark has, which makes rooting for them a little bit sweeter, and it's an easier pill to swallow.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely true. Speaking of season 4, shooting in New York City right now. So if anyone can catch any pictures, feel free to send them our way. And yeah, in terms of other winners, I think Joe and Jung Ho Yun maybe, but I don't think Squid Game is that strong. I think that would have to be a huge Squid Game overperformance, and everything else.
She won the SAG though, so never discount her,
did.
but she did win it
Yeah.
not up against Julia Garner. So,
Yeah.
she did win it up against Sarah Snook, and she won it in lead actress, because they don't do supporting, I believe,
So
for
even more
television.
competition. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And then I hope Patty Arquette can eventually win for this show, but I'm glad she was nominated.
she's good.
She's really good.
Yeah. Hey,
Um,
maybe if they need her to talk about a big political issue, they'll give her a win
Yeah.
so she can go up and give that speech.
Can always count on her for that. Yeah. Now on to supporting actor, where I've also made a little bit of a switch. I'm going with my heart. I'm putting Matthew McFadden at number 1 instead of Kieran Culkin. I think, as we were mentioning, the terrible people on Succession, I think Tom is one of the better people, definitely overall. And I think
Well,
Roy is definitely one of the not as nice people, Roman Roy.
but I think
Um,
there's something about Roman. I respect you, because I would want to give it to Matthew McFadden. I think that monologue he gives to Greg in the final episode of season 3 is just so great. But again, I think he's a season 4 payoff, and I think they're being very democratic. I think, like, they gave it to Jeremy. They're going to give it to Kieran this year. They'll give it to Matthew and Sarah next year. It just, to me, I feel Kieran Culkin, he's so many people's favorite for just how spontaneous he is. And I
Hmm.
think that you see it in interviews, like Brian Cox, like is talking about how great of an actor Kieran is, like, and how good it is he is in improv and how much he's grown. So I do think there's a lot of respect for him
Yeah.
among the community and among the team of Succession. And this season, I think with the Jerry subplot, with he had a really good season,
Hmm.
and I just feel like now's the time because I feel like who won the last time he was up? Was it Billy Crudup?
Probably
Yeah, and I
for
feel like
morning
that was
show.
when the
Yeah.
morning show was shining better because I probably would have said that he was probably second to that.
Probably.
So I feel like now, like he's done 3 seasons of good work, and now it's his time. And Matthew McFadden will get season 4. The other thing too is Matthew McFadden has been around longer. I feel like he was in
Hmm.
Pride and Prejudice in like
He
2005.
was.
So like
Yeah.
I feel like Kieran Culkin, they kind of feel as if let's give him this award, like in a Zendaya move to, kind of like jumpstart his career. Where Matthew, they're fine waiting a little bit more because they know he's good, he's covered.
Yeah.
So that's I. So we agree as Succession, but we maybe disagree on
Yeah.
which one.
Yeah. I do think. I think some people say season one is Kendall's season, season two is Shiv's season, and season three is Roman's season, which I could see that. I think he does get the most to do in this past season as he has ever done on the show. So I understand why he's number one in the odds. I might end up switching him any second now, but I'm just gonna for right now go with my heart with Matthew McFadden. Um, I don't think anyone else
So
really has that much of a shot.
yeah, no, I mean, again, Matthew McFadden maybe. Yeah, I can't
I don't
think
see a
of
vote split happening here because I don't think
no.
there's a strong third to come in.
Yeah, no, I think we're good. So I think it's interesting. Did we, for all of these 5 top categories, did we all pick different thing? Because we think success. Oh
We
no,
both did Julia
Succession.
Garner.
Well, no, I'm just saying the
Oh,
Succession and supporting actor we think is going to go. I'm just saying as
yes.
far as the show distribution because we think Euphoria is
Hmm.
going to win one, Ozark's going to win one, Squid Game's going to win one. You think Succession is going to clean up nicely because you have it winning 3, I have
Yes,
it winning
I
2.
do.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
shall. Now, drama directing. I think this is where another show is going to get their time in the sun, and I'm putting Severance's finale, "The We Are," directed by Ben Stiller. I think another factor here is it is also my personal favorite in terms of direction. I think the finale, I mean, it was like a tight 45 minutes. I think just everything about it, it culminated perfectly. And people were talking about that finale for a while, at least the people who had seen it. I think, me personally, in terms of all the aspects of directing, it's my favorite. So I think it's number one. And I think they do want to award Severance somewhere because they clearly really liked it. I think the direction is one of the strongest aspects of the show. So that's my number one. I think Squid Game, Red Light, Green Light has a good shot, as well as Succession's finale, All the Bells Say. And I don't think any other ones are really have a chance at winning, but it's worth noting Succession has 3 nominations here, so it could split some votes there.
Yeah, I think Succession will probably split. And I think Jason Bateman has won this category, so I think he's covered.
Yeah,
And I think Yellow Jackets is just honored to be nominated
yeah.
here. I do think it's between Squid Game and Severance, and I think because now correct me if I'm wrong, are both of these shows the directors? Did they direct all of the episodes? Do you
I know
know
Ben
that?
Stiller did not direct all of Severance. He directed like
Okay.
most of the episodes, but I think someone else did like 2 or 3 of them.
Okay, let me just look up Squid Game because I do think that, but still, I would still say that Ben Stiller is kind of like the architect. Like
He's the
people
force
do
behind it.
associate him with that. So the Hwang Duck Hyuk, I think is how you say his name. Apologies.
Hmm.
Did direct all of Squid Game, so I could
Yeah,
see them giving it to him as like because we heard the story of how long it took him to
a
get the
while.
show, and then it becomes a huge hit, and that he directed all of it. But at the same time, I do feel that like Jason Bateman wins this category. Like I feel like name directors do well here.
Yeah,
So like didn't Adam McKay win for Succession episode 1, like the
maybe.
pilot? We can Google that. So
Yeah,
I think I agree with you with Ben Stiller, but I would say look out for Squid Game.
definitely.
As either if it overperforms or if they feel this is where they're going to honor the individual who I really do. I feel like many people love the performances, but they really do appreciate what the creative team did with the show and especially the
Hmm.
individual who waited so long to make it. So I think it's much closer than maybe you think, but I still will lean an edge towards Severance because I do think Squid Game has already been covered in terms of the
Yeah,
award.
yeah, yeah. I do. I do think it's pretty close. I think part of what's pushing me a little further is my love for Severance. But yeah, now drama writing, where Succession only has one nomination, which is a smart move. So I do think Succession will win here for the finale, all the bells say. I don't really know what else has too much of a shot. Maybe Severance for the We Are, but I think the directing of the show is, I mean, the directing and the writing are both like perfection, but I think the direction stands out a little bit more.
Yeah, just a clarification. Adam McKay was nominated for Best Directing of a Drama Series in 2019. I believe, if my memory serves me correct, that he lost to Jason Bateman.
Okay. Okay.
That was the same year as Game of Thrones and stuff.
Yeah. Big year.
Big year.
Big year.
So yeah, for Best Writing, you're going Succession?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's possible because I do think it is, in my opinion, the best written show on television right now. So I think that's likely. I mean, don't discount if they go Squid Game in directing. Is Severance nominated here? Because I think then they could go Severance here.
It's ranked number 2 currently.
Yeah, but I do think that no, even if Succession doesn't like completely take everything by storm, I do think that it is growing in popularity, and so I do think writing is probably a good place to look for it to show up. Because even if it doesn't win Best Drama Series, it's definitely like the runner-up or in contention. So
yeah,
and if we don't think it really has a chance with directing, I do think, and it's definitely more of a writer show. So. I think I agree. I think Succession will win. What episode are you thinking it will win for? The finale?
The finale. Yeah, that's the only nomination that they have for writing. So I think
which I think again helps because then all of the love will go towards one episode, which we saw last year with limited series. I think because like WandaVision had 3 episodes compared to like you only needed to vote once for Michaela Cole. Not saying that WandaVision would have won if it was one. I'm just saying that type of dynamic I think always does stretch out your voting body. So definitely. The fact that there's only one script for Succession here, I think helps it in terms of a win.
Yeah. And then quickly, guest categories, Succession, I think is going to win both with, I'd honestly say maybe Alexander Skarsgård for supporting or guest actor. And then of course, Harriet Walter for guest actress.
I think I agree. I think both are fantastic and continue to do fantastic work.
Yeah. Look out for Coleman Domingo though, because he, if Succession splits votes there, I think he has a good shot.
And never count out James Cromwell, but I do think Coleman Domingo actually might win. I
think him or Skarsgård, because Succession could split votes there.
I'm gonna actually do that. I think Succession will win Harriet Walter guest actress, and I think I'm gonna go Coleman Domingo because I forgot about him, and I think there's a lot of love for him as we're seeing now with potentially Rustin.
Yeah, true. I might do that. We shall see in the upcoming weeks. But those are our predictions for the drama categories. Comment your predictions down below, like the video, subscribe, and where can they find you, Anthony?
At Anthony Post, and spoilers ahead with Anthony Post.
Awesome. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next week.